You're on to mathematics. This is the mathematics multiverse, and we'll be looking at our NECO BECE question paper for 2022, with special emphasis today on paper 2. The essence of this class is to go through topics, to go through the questions, and have an idea as to the topics and how much understanding we have of them. So we'll start this morning by trying to look at question 16. We started with number 1. We stopped at 15. So we'll commence with question 16. And we'll try not to be too fast. And we'll also try not to be too slow. Essentially, we want to test and ensure that you have a firm grip of the concept. So we'll go straight to question 16. And it says expand. So this is algebra. Paper 2 of your NECO experience talks about algebra and essentially a matter of statistics. So question 16 says expand, which means it's treating algebraic expansion. So let's look at what that says. Question 16. In question 16, it says negative 5k into x minus 4k. Right? Now, take note of what is out there. You have a negative. And what does negative essentially do? It will alter the signs in the bracket. So one way to check if you've done the right thing is, after solving, if the signs here are still the same, then there's something wrong. You didn't do something right. So negative alters the signs of the terms in the bracket. So that's something you must keep in mind while multiplying. So what I do first of all is to say negative times positive. That will be negative 5kx. Negative times negative will give me positive. 5 times 5 times 4 rather will give me 20. And then k times k will give me k multiplied twice, which is k to the power of 2. All right, so this will be the final answer there. Now, the next thing you need to do is to check the options you have. If you look at the options you have, it is a default in math for us to write the positive term before the negative term. So I always tell students, it's not just knowing the thing that's important. You need to also have a strong understanding of how to rearrange things. So this will give me 20k squared minus 5, excuse me, kx. And if you've done the right thing, the option there will be A. A will be your correct answer. Excuse me. All right, so for that question, A will be the correct answer. So let's go to question 17. In question 17, it says, find the value of x in the simultaneous equations. That should be plural. Simultaneous equations. Simultaneous cannot be one equation. So try to correct grammar there. Simultaneous equations. Right, so that will be 6x plus 5y equal to 62. Here we have 4x minus 5y equal to 8. In my little work with students lately, I often hear students tell me, sir, we don't like to use, we like to use substitution. See, the rule for me from my years of teaching math has been this: never use any other method. In fact, of all the methods, it's best to use elimination. If you cannot eliminate, try to create the environment, especially when you're dealing with linear equations. Try to create the environment where you can eliminate. Never run away from some basic concepts that help you to grow, because someday you will meet these concepts and it will look as though you're trying to learn them again. So elimination for me is the best. So how do we use elimination here? Very simple. Look at it. You look at the terms that are like, if I pick x, for instance, the coefficient of x here is 6. Coefficient of here, x here is 4. I can't eliminate this because elimination talks about making a particular term non-existent. If I look at this, I have 5. I have 5 here. So I can do something here. But this is negative. This is positive. So the only way I can eliminate is to add. If two things are not alike or if two terms are unlike, what do? You add them to eliminate. If the terms are alike or having the same coefficients as it were, you can eliminate them by what? Subtracting. So in this setup, I'm going to eliminate by what? Adding. Is this your basic knowledge of your 100 tensor unit? That's a concept you were taught in primary school. So this plus this will give me 10x. These terms I have eliminated, giving me 70. What do I do next? I divide both sides by what? Sorry, by 10. And obviously, I'm going to have x equal to 7. So if I check my option, I've just gotten for x. Okay, I told to look for x. So x will be 7. And that option obviously is what? C. And that takes care of question 17. Let's look at question 18. Question 18 is testing the concept of inequalities. Inequalities, linear inequalities. All right, so we have 3a greater than or equal to 6a plus 9. Now, this is where, I've done lots of videos on this. If you want to have a very comprehensive feel of this topic, go to my YouTube channel, grade 8 playlist. A lot of work on inequalities. And what I try to do is to use a different approach to solving this problem. 3a is greater than this. What does this mean? Now look at this. 6a is bigger than 3a. Remember we said that for any equation or inequality, our first objective is to ensure that we have the unknown on the left-hand side. Number 1. Number 2, we ensure that on the left-hand side, we don't have a negative coefficient of the unknown. That's number 2. At least that's the approach I have adopted. So if you look at this, 6a is bigger than 3a. So the first thing I need to do is to try to bring these terms to my left-hand side. Now, if this is greater than this, it will only mean that this will be less than 3a, less than or equal to 3a. Just simple logic. If this man is bigger than this man, how do I describe this person? It means this person is less than this one. So basic English grammar coming in active here can help you attend to some of these problems. So this will now be what? 6a. This was positive here, so it becomes negative here, minus 3a, less than or equal to. This was positive here, becomes negative here. What's the objective? We want to ensure that we keep the unknown here and we keep the known here, right? So this will give us 3a less than or equal to negative 9. And I want the coefficient. Remember that for any equation of inequality, our objective is to ensure that the coefficient of the unknown is what? 1. That's what I'm going to do. I am having 3 here, so I'll divide both sides by 3. So a will be less than or equal to what? Negative 3. So that takes care of that problem, and we're home and dry with that. So for the purpose of the exam, what answers will suffice? What answer will suffice? You discover that D will be the correct answer. D will become the correct answer. So we'll go straight ahead to question 19. In question 19, another term in algebra is tested. It says factorize. To factorize is to bring out factors that are common to the terms being talked about. So look at this. The question says 3x y squared minus 3x z squared. Now, look at this very well. Remember, we have sign, number, letter. I know that you remember this concept. I have had this a lot on my YouTube channel, even when I had to teach classes. For this, we would bother about the number and the letter. If you look at this carefully, I've seen 3x here. I've seen 3x here. So I'll factor 3x here. Usually when you factor out, there is the introduction of a bracket or a pair of brackets. So I'll be left with y squared minus z squared. Remove this. How do you remove in factorization? When I say remove in factorization, technically I'm talking about what? Divide. You're divided. So when I remove technically and I keep, I have divided the terms to be able to get to that. All right. So with that said, the next thing I'm going to have is what? Y squared minus z squared. Now, before we go ahead, I just want to asterisk just to tell my students that this is the concept I want us to clear out. Now, remember that from the concept of difference of two squares, the difference of two squares, this becomes y plus z into y minus z. It's a straightforward term. If you go over my videos, I've done extensive explanations of this. So you discover that in the exam setup, what's important for you is to be able to see the concept, see the question, recognize the concept, and do the needful. See the question, recognize, and do the needful. All right, so this idea is transferred here, and I'm going to have 3x into y plus z into y minus z. And that clears out that question. And the right answer there will be A. The right answer to that question will be A. Okay, so we proceed still on the work. We proceed to question 20. In question 20, we notice that we're told to simplify. To simplify is to make one. To make one. To make one. So let's look at that. 7a times negative 7ab, sorry about that, times negative 12b. Now, this is where my concept of sign, number, and letter comes to play. Deal with the signs first to be positive. You may write it, or if you write it or you don't write it, it won't make any difference, because we know technically that when a term is positive, we don't put a sign in front of it. We don't put positive sign in front of it. We know that at that time, that sign is, or that term is positive. Now, 7 times 12 will give me 84. A times B will give me AB in the order of the letters of the English alphabet. In the order of the letters of the English alphabet. So that will give me what? AB. So that will be 84 AB. Now, where there are exceptions to this rule, I will also inform you, because when you're dealing with measuration, especially measuration in geometry, there may be an alteration to this concept, because you could see pi r squared h. And somebody would ask, but sir, you've been talking about h coming before r. I said there will be exceptions, but for general algebra, we keep it the letter in the order of the letters of the English alphabet. All right, trust you've enjoyed this one. So the answer simply will be what? D, which is what? 84 AB. 84 AB. Okay, all right, that takes care of that. We'll now go on to other questions. Of inequality, the concept of inequalities is tested again. So it says negative 4 is greater than 5x plus 16. Now, what do you do here? Remember that we said that we keep the unknown on the left-hand side. That's the first thing you must attend to when you're solving questions like this. We keep the unknown on the left-hand side. Now, you discover that if this is greater than this, it will only imply that this is less than this. Just simple logic. So I'll say 5x plus 16 is less than negative 4. So what do I do next? I'm going to have 5x less than negative 4, because I will not need 16 here on the left-hand side anymore. So what's going to happen? If 16 were positive here, it will become what? Negative here. I'm going to have 5x less than negative 20. And then 5x, I'll divide both sides by 5. I'm going to have that x will be less than negative 4. X becomes what? Less than negative 4. All right, that's for question number 21. So let's go to question number 22. It says, what is the value of m? This is an equation, a simple linear equation. If one number, 1 over 5, m is equal to 24. Now, you discover that although this is algebra, the first thing tested here is your ability to convert from mixed number or numbers towards improper fraction. I've often said that mixed number and improper fractions are one and the same thing. It's all about presentation or representation. So here, the first thing you want to do is to convert to what? Improper fraction. All right, so how do we do that? Remember that we said to convert to improper fraction, we say the denominator times the whole number plus the numerator. 5 times 1, give me 5 plus 1, which will be what? 6. So 6m. This technically is a numerator position divided by 5 equal to what? 24. Now, this is where I will take a little time to explain. I've discovered that a lot of the challenges we have in modern math is our failure to do the right things. There's a way our brains are wired. I'm privileged to play the keyboard, and I discovered that some of the things most of our machines struggle to get are things that are already wired naturally into your body. So what we do technically now in maths is to ensure that that original wiring God has given to you, you use it. Once you use it, it flows. Look at your left-hand side. Look at your right-hand side. We have a basic understanding from equations that we cancel numerators or we cancel denominators. But if it were to be a normal expression or a fraction, we cancel numerator to denominator. So your task, first of all, once you got to this level, is to check. I'll just put an over 1 here. 24 is 24 because it's standing on 1. Now, if you look at 6m and 24, there's a common factor. The highest common factor I can see is 6. So I cancel out immediately 1 and 4. So I'm going to have m over 5 equal to what? 4. What is dividing m? It is 5. If it is dividing on the left-hand side, it will multiply on the right-hand side. So technically, m will simply be equal to 4 times 5, and m will be equal to 20. I've told students that the greatest weapon you have in an exam like this is your speed. And your speed is built on an understanding of the concepts. So some of the methods you'll be using before now, you may need to adjust them because these methods have been proven to make you very effective and fast, which is very important for this exam. So that's for question 22. And if you've done that correctly, that will be C will be the correct answer. So let's go to question 23. In question 23, you're told to solve the simultaneous equation. This is another simultaneous equation. I think this year what they did was to spread the questions, spread them. So this is another simultaneous equation. So you see that if you're prepared for this exam, this is one topic you need to know. I'm going to do some videos much later showing us the NECO BECE exam, the breakdown of each question, how many questions to expect, because that's something you must learn. It's not just enough to know the topics. You must know the, what they call the demography. That's how many questions are coming from a particular area. Once you are sure of that, you're sure to do very well. All right, so let's look at that. This will be x plus y equal to 3, and we have 2y, 2x, sorry about that, minus y equal to 6. All right, we use our concept of elimination once again. Remember we said we look at x. We can't eliminate x because we're having 2x and we have x. We look at y. We have y and y. We can eliminate them. Next thing, we check the signs or the coefficients of y in both equations. This is positive, this is negative. So we can eliminate by adding. And this will give me what? 3x equal to 9. So what do? I divide both sides rather by 3. And I have that x will be equal to 3. And if you've done that correctly in the exam, okay, that's just for x. You know, the previous question we took in this setup only asked for x. Here we're told to look for x and y. So hence we've gotten x. We will then say put x equal to 3. And back in the days, we say put in equation 1 in equation 2. I don't do that anymore. I'd rather you specify, you tell me the questions you're making that substitution in. So that will be x plus y equal to 3. I want to put x equal to 3, x plus y equal to 3. So with that said, x plus, that will be, okay, so this will give me what? 3 plus y equal to 3. So y will be equal to 3. 3 is added here. Minus 3. 3 is added to y here. And it's equal to 3. So we should, without even showing this, I can just go ahead to say y is equal to 0. And you get your full marks. Modern maths, you get your full marks. You don't need to explain to anybody, because there are topics you've learned that have established that understanding. Once you can get us to this point and you just say y equal to 0, you get your full marks. Modern maths is so interesting. All right, 24. Question 24, we have, this is more like algebraic fractions, addition of algebraic fractions. So we have p plus 2 over 3 minus 3p over 5. Now the first thing you want to do is to take LCM. The concept of LCM is to observe critically where you have primes. This is a prime number, this is a prime number. So I don't need to waste my time. And they are not the same. The LCM simply will be what? 15. These are areas in maths you need to be very strong at, because these are areas that will tell whether you're going to solve the questions quickly or you're going to waste time. So this is 15 divided by 3, that will be 5 into whatever you get here will multiply the numerator p plus 2 minus 15 divided by 5, that will give me what? 3. 3 times 3 will be what? 9. All right, so the next thing I want to do is open up these brackets. That will be 5p plus 10 minus 9p all over 15. So what do I do? Look at this carefully. What do I do? What do I do now? This will be 5p minus 9p. Remember, I've told us before that I always don't fancy this rewriting arrangement. You've passed that stage. Why prepare for this exam? It means that you've come to a level where you can process things at a very fast rate. Now, 5p minus 2p will give me negative 4p. But remember, we have a rule. Write the positive first. So that will give me 10 minus 4p all over 15. So I'm going to check if there's any answer that is close to that. Okay, in this exam, they decided to flip the understanding. Now, they said they went with the normal convention of say negative 4p plus 10 all over 15. So you see that it's dangerous for you to say, I know a particular style. You must know both styles, all styles possible, because it's very important. You should be able to do that. All right. So if you've done that correctly, the correct answer there would be, is that C? Yeah, that would be C. Correct answer will be C. Okay. Question 25. All right. In question 25, it says Which of the following line graphs represents the solution 5 less than or equal to 3x minus 1? Remember, our study of maths is always involve us being what? Methodological. That is to say, we follow specific methods. Remember, we keep the unknown on the left-hand side. So that's the first thing you need to do. This is less than this. Would mean that this term here, 3x minus 1, is greater than 5. So I will do by writing that greater than or equal to 5. The next thing, I don't need this. So this will be 3x greater than or equal to 5 plus 1. If this were negative here, it's going to be positive on the right-hand side. All right, so 3x will be greater than or equal to 6. What do? I divide both sides by 2, by 3 rather. I'm going to have x be greater than or equal to 2. X will be greater than or equal to 2. So with that done, the next thing you want to do is to draw what is called an inequality graph. Now, greater than or equal to 2 will suggest that the bubble is colored. There are two types of bubbles you're going to have, this or this. For less than or greater than, let me put that on my left-hand side. For less than, greater than or less than, you're going to have an open bubble. For greater than, equal to, less than, equal to, you're going to have a colored bubble. So with that said, the next thing we look at now is the 10, or rather the number. This is 2. This 2 will tell us where it will start. This 2 will tell us where it will start. Greater than or less than, or greater than or equal to, less than equal to will tell us the direction. So if I'm to draw that, I will draw a simple line, which is the technique I teach my students to adopt. 2 greater than or equal to colored bubble. Greater than or equal to means that it will point in this direction. And that's the graph you are told to draw. So if you look at that question very well, looking at your options, it will show that A will be the correct option to that question. A will be the correct option to that question. All right, so let's go to question 26. In question 26, we have 2 over 3x minus 1 equal to what? Equal to 1 over 4. So what's the next thing we'll do? If you look at this question very well, 2 over 3x minus 1 equal to 1 over 4. Now, do you know that we taught you from algebraic equations or equations involving algebraic fractions that you can, what you do to left-hand side, you can do to right-hand side. So to make my work easy, I will turn this one. Provided what I'm doing to the left-hand side, I'm doing to the right-hand side. Because sometimes students need to understand that the concept of balance goes beyond just moving positive become negative, dividing and whatever. It can also affect the behavior. What you do to the left-hand side, you must do to the right-hand side. That's the concept of balance. It must be to the left and right. So with that said, 2 is dividing this. So what will 2 do to 4? It will multiply. So that will be 2x, 3x rather minus 1 equal to 4 times 2. I just did that for purposes of emphasis. And I'll have that 3x minus 1 will be equal to what? 8. So what do I have next? 3x will be equal to 8 plus 1. The antonym of negative is a positive. And so what does that give you? That'll give me 3x equal to 9. I divide both sides by 3. And I'm going to obtain that x will be equal to what? 3. So if you've done that, the option there would have been D. So the option to that question would have been D. Okay, so let's go to question 27. Question 27 is testing your knowledge of algebraic simplification. Okay, so I have 2 into b plus 1 minus B plus 2 into B minus 1. So how do you solve a question like this? I would advise you, because there's a negative here, anytime you see negative before a bracket, you need to be very, very careful. So I'll advise you do this one first. Do this term first. So I'll put an asterisk here just to tell my examiner that I'm doing this one first. Now, B times B will give me B squared. First to first term, last to last term. Cross terms, negative B, what I call cross terms. B times negative 1 will give me negative B. Remember, we're doing our crossbow technique. Then 2 times B will give me what? 2B. You discover that 2B minus B will give me B. So I'll have what? Plus B. But that's not where the problem ends, because what I have here is what? A negative. So I'm going to rewrite this. I will open this one up into what I've got in here. Then the next thing, I open it up. Some questions will require time, more time. So you really need to, that's why questions where you don't have to spend time, you need to be fast about it. This will give me 2B plus 2 minus B squared minus B plus 2. Are we seeing that? Are we seeing that? All right. So with that done, this will be equal to, we collect like terms now. Collect like terms. So I look at B squared. It's negative B. So I have negative B squared. So that will be negative B squared. I look at B. It will be what? 2B minus B. That'll be plus B. I look at 2. 2 plus 2. 2 plus 2. And that will be what? Plus 4. So my answer will be what? Negative B squared plus B plus 4. So that option will obviously be C. That option will obviously be C. That takes care of question number 27. So in question 28, we are told to solve the equation 2 minus bracket open 2x minus 2 bracket close minus bracket open x minus 2 bracket close equal to 0. Okay, that's what we're told to solve. Now, for this question, you need to take care of the brackets. And what is the sign before the bracket? That's crucial to solving this question. Discover that there's a negative. So when we open these brackets, because there's negative here, when we open these brackets, what we're going to observe is that the signs will change. All right, so if that's understood, we go straight ahead to handle that. And this will become what? 2 minus 2x plus 2, signs will change, minus x plus 2 equal to 0. Now, the next thing I'll do, oh, sorry, there's no equal to sign here. Sorry about that. It's an equation. Should have just the equality sign here. Now, look at this. 2 plus 2 plus 2 will give me 6. Now, look at this. Negative 2x, negative x. Means you're adding same signs, negative 3x equal to 0. Now, what this will mean is that 6, this is negative, so let me take care of that. The cross equality becomes positive, and 3x will be equal to 6. And if I go side by 3, and I'm going to have that x will be equal to 2. So if you've done that correctly, the option is what? C. So we go to 29. It says, find the sum of the coefficients of x. Find the sum of the coefficients of x. So now, in what question? 5x plus 8 minus 7x plus 9. Now, this is the question where technically we expect you to collect like terms. So let's assume the theory question, this will be 5x minus 7x plus 8 plus what, 9. This will give me negative 2x plus 17. I see that because 5 minus 7 will give me an answer that is what? Negative. So the question says the coefficient of x. The coefficient of x in this setup is negative 2. So coefficient of x will be equal to negative 2. And that option is B. So let's go to question 30. In question 30, it says, which of the following line graphs represent the solution 8x less than 6x minus 10? So we need to solve the inequality, and after solving the inequality, we will then go ahead to do, we'll now go ahead to try to draw the inequality graph. So I don't need 6x here, and 8x is bigger than 6x. So I'm going to have 8x minus 6x less than negative 10. 8x minus 6x less than negative 10. So this will give me 2x less than negative 10. 2x less than negative 10. So I'll divide both sides by 2, and I'll have that x will be less than negative 5. Now, in preparing an inequality graph, what then should I do? In preparing my inequality graph, what then should I do or take note of? Now, less than will suggest that the graph will point to my left. Negative 5 will suggest where the graph will start from. And this less than will also suggest that the graph, the bubble is open, it's not closed. So with all this understanding, I'll just rule a line, mark a point, call it maybe 0 if I like, and then I mark another point, call it negative 5. And then from this point, I put a bubble, open bubble, and I point in this direction. I could just label this x, and that is the graph I'm expected to have. So if you look at this question, the answer that looks more like it will be B. B will be the correct answer to question 30. All right, so let's forge ahead to question 31. 31 is testing your knowledge of equations with fractions, equations with fractions. All right, so I have 5 over 6 minus 3z over 4 equal to 2z minus 1 all over 3. That's what you have. And then the next thing that is of interest to us will be, what do we do? Remember that when I taught you this in class, something I did was this. I paid attention to do this side first and then relate them. And that appears to be the technique I'm using for now. I've used a lot of techniques over the years, but this seems to be a more relaxing technique based on what I've seen students do. What I do now is I study what students are conversant with and try to tweak it and bring the dimension where you use every aspect of your processor in solving. So I'm going to use that technique here. The LCM of this will be 12. Will be what? 12. I can factor 3 out of here. I have 2 to the power of 2 here. That's 4. So that will be 12. 12 divided 6 will give me 2 times 5. That will be 10 minus 12 divided 4 will be 3 times 3. That will be what? 9z equal to 2z minus 1 over 3. Power of recognition using of your HCF will suggest that 3 can go here will be 4. 3 can go here will be what? 1. What do you do next? The next thing is to remember that this is multiplying this. This is dividing this rather. And so it will multiply this. So that will be 10 minus 9z equal to 4 into 2z minus 1. Equal to, that will be 10 minus 9z equal to 8z minus 4. So what do? Remember that all negative numbers are less than positive. All positive numbers are greater than negative. So remember that when we look at these two terms, look at 8z and negative 9z, which is bigger? It is 8z. Our objective at some level of solving is to keep the unknown that is bigger, rather, using our comparison now, on the left-hand side. So that will be 8z minus 4 equal to 10 minus 9z. To collect like terms, 8z plus 9z, because this was negative. So in crossing equality becomes what? Positive. And that will give me 10. Crossing equality becomes what? Positive plus 4. All right, so what do we have? We're going to have a situation where 17z will be equal to 14. 17z will be equal to 14. Now, we divide both sides by 17 because the coefficient of z is 17. And what we're going to have will be z equal to what? 14 over 17. 14 over 17. And that would be B if we have done the right thing. So the answer to that question will be what? B, right? All right, so let's look at question 32. Question 32 is testing your knowledge of direct variation. Direct variation. P, or rather, joint variation. P is proportional to V over R. Find K. Remember that what I taught you was this. If this is proportional to this, what this means is that change this, replace this with this sign, replace it with what? Equal to K. That's all. And from this point, or let's be K into V over R. Remember that this is a numerator. So this will be P equal to what? P equal to KV over R. So we can rewrite this. I've taught you change your subject of formula, so we can rewrite this. I will have what? KV over R equal to what? P. Now, there are two ways you can go about this. Let's stretch your thinking a little. This will be V over R. If K is multiplying V over R, what will P multiply? P will multiply what? R over V. If K, we've done this during when we treated equations with fractions. If K is multiplying V over R, what will P multiply? P will multiply the reciprocal of K. So this will now be what? Sorry about the mix-up. K will be equal to this. So this means that this will be equal to P R over V. Now what is P? P is 5. What is R? R is 1. And what is V? V is 3. And that will be 5 over 3. I've also done, so that answer will be, now, here, the answer was converted to mixed numbers. So this will be 1 whole number, 2 over 3. 1 whole number, 2 over 3. I've also done extensive videos on, variation. So I will send a link to you so you can watch them. I'll send, after this class, I'm going to send links of those things so you can watch them again and get better acquainted with the topics. All right. So the next one, 33 In question 33, it says solve the equations, or rather solve the equation 5 over 3x minus 1 equal to 4 over 2x. That's what they're required to solve. I will start by sounding a note of caution here. Don't be too mechanical when you solve problems. Always look at the question before you proceed. If you look at this question very well, you discover that what? I can actually divide top and bottom by 2. Now that's the first thing you have to recognize in solving this question. The next thing I will do, now remember that I said that balancing also involves that, or would include, if I turn left, I must turn right. So I will turn both. The reason I'm doing this is just to be able to apply the technique I'm used to. This is dividing this, so this will multiply this. This is dividing this, so this will multiply this. So this will be 2 into 3x minus 1 equal to what? 5x. I can open this one up. 6x minus 2 will be equal to 5x. So I don't need this here, and I need this here. So this will be 6x minus 5x equal to what? 2. So x will simply be equal to 2. If x is equal to 2, that option in the exam would have been what? A. That option in the exam would have been what? A. All right. So we go to 34, which essentially talks about the concept of expansion of algebraic expressions. So this will be 2x into y minus z minus 3x into negative 4y plus 6z. Right, so this will be equal to what? 2xy, opening the bracket, minus 2xz. 2xy minus 2xz. Now, when we come to the negative here, this is where we need to be very careful. Negative times negative will be what? Positive. Remember our concept of sign, numbers, or number, and letter. Always remember this concept in that order. Negative times negative will give me positive. 3 times 4 will give me 12. X times y will give me xy. Negative times positive will give me negative. And that will be what? Negative what? 3 times 6 will give me 18. And x times z will give me what? Xz. So at this point, what do? I now begin to check out for common terms. Look at this. This term is common to this. And this term, or this term, is common to this. So I'll treat them. Look at it carefully. This plus this will give me what? 14xy. Negative suggest that I'm adding. So 2 plus 18 will give me what? 20. That's negative 20xz. So the next thing I will do is to check my option if there's anything like that. And if you look at that, A becomes the correct option for that question. All right, so that takes care of question 34. So question 35 talks about variation. It says Z varies inversely. Inverse will be 1 over. Find the constant K in terms of Z and V. Remember we said that anytime you see this sign, replace it with what? Replace with this. So this will be Z equal to K over V. Or let's start by saying K 1 over V, which will be Z equal to K over V. Now, I hope you know that this V is dividing K. So it will multiply Z. So K or Z, VZ will simply be equal to K. and K will be equal to VZ. So that solves that, and the answer will be E. Now, in this case, they said K equal to ZV. They chose to write ZV, doesn't really matter. But if we're to follow the convention, it would be what? VZ. Right, so that takes care of that question. And I trust that we've been able to do good work this morning. And we're meeting again tomorrow.